live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Wawodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, the EFCC insists the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, remains wanted for alleged 80.2 billion naira money laundering charges. As Mr. Bello's media team says, the former governor honored an invitation by the anti-graft agency and left without being interrogated. The federal government issues an urgent warning to states in southern Nigeria on impending flood, especially in Edo, Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Kogi State. And the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says the army will play its own part to ensure a safe and peaceful governorship election in Edo State on Saturday, September the 21st.
On business news tonight, the central bank says it will continue implementation of the controversial cybercrime levy on all electronic transactions under its new guidelines for the 2024-2025 fiscal year.
On sports, Italy's 1990 World Cup Golden Boot winner Salvatore Toto Schillaci dies at 59 after battling bowel cancer.
And from the nation's capital, the Julius Abure group of the Labour Party insists there is no vacancy in the leadership of the party. The group says the Federal High Court had earlier declared the National Convention of the party, held in Nnewi on March 26, 2024, valid.
And in international news from London, the Lebanese Health Ministry has confirmed that 12 people, including 2 children, have been killed after explosives in thousands of Hezbollah pages were detonated.
Tonight, what has become a roller coaster of events surrounding the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. Well, the former governor, who has been on the wanted list of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, on allegation of having laundered 80.2 billion naira. Officials of the EFCC are presently making attempts to arrest the former Kogi State governor at the Kogi State Governor's Lodge at the Asokoro district in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. However, there appears to be some resistance by security operatives at the government lodge. Gunshots rent the air during the altercation, but at the moment, the entire area has been cordoned off. The movements around that area have also been restricted to only operatives of the EFCC and other security agencies stationed there. Our crew deployed to the scene had their camera, their tripod, and the keys to our vehicle all seized. I'll definitely be bringing you developments in the course of the bulletin when they come. Meanwhile, before that, earlier today, conflicting reports had been going on the emergence and appearance of the former governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, to the headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. In a press statement, the director of Yahaya Bello's media office, Mr. Harry Michael, says the former governor finally honored the invitation of the commission, but was not interrogated. However, the head of media and publicity of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Dele Oyole, says that the former governor is not in the holding facility of the commission and remains wanted by the EFCC. The federal government has issued an urgent warning to states in the southern part of Nigeria of impending flood, especially in Edo, Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Kogi states. The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Mr. Uche Naji, issued that warning during a press briefing in Abuja. The minister gave further insight into the tremor experienced in the Mbappe area of the state and Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology is the supervising ministry for the National Space Research and Development Agency, which is responsible for acquiring information on some of the environmental challenges in the country. Following the recent flood in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology provides an update on the aftermath of the disaster as recorded from the nation's satellite.
The overflow of the dam affected 137 hectares of land between July 1st and July 31. However, between August and September, a sharp increase was observed, with the overflow affecting 2,053 hectares by the end of August and reaching a staggering 18,737 hectares by mid-September. These satellite images indicate a significant and escalating flood risk. We advise downstream states, including Kogi, Edo, Delta, Rivers, and Bayelsa, to activate all necessary flood control measures. We will continue monitoring activities across the country and provide regular updates.
Understand?
The agency also responded to the earth tremor in some parts of the Federal Capital Territory. The Director General of the agency explains what could be responsible for the incident.
The issue concerning the activities of drilling, blasting of the rock, we have been reliably told that most of these activities have been stopped along their axis. And that's a big credit to the FCT administration. And we employ them to do more so that we will not aggravate the seismic activities along the fault lines, because human activities have a way of impacting as well. So, but we are calling the attention of the public to the fact that we are not sleeping. We are monitoring. We have our monitoring equipment there, and if the situation gets to the level of red code, then the government will not hesitate to do the needful.
Nevertheless, the government is urging residents of the affected areas to remain calm as the government works to address the issue.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC, says that it is building multi-purpose emergency shelters, 6 of them in 3 flood-prone states, for internally displaced persons in the event of flood disaster in the Niger Delta region. NDDC Managing Director Samuel Obuku, who disclosed this during a press conference at the Commission in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, explains that the decision to build the emergency shelters in Bayelsa, Delta, and River State follows a devastating flood in the year 2023. Mr. Obuku, while commiserating with the government and the people of Borno State over the recent flood, assured residents of the Niger Delta region of the readiness of the interventionist agency to take on life-saving responsibilities in the event of any flood this year. He also says the facility at the emergency shelter will include essential amenities like schools, hospitals, cafeteria, a police post, and recreation center, which will provide comprehensive support for communities in times of distress.
For us in the Niger Delta, in preparation for the flood rescue, we knew that the flood was going to come. That was why, in earnest, when our people started suffering from the difficulty of passing the east-west route, the NDDC had to intervene immediately to ensure that we make that road passable. And today, the road, the traffic we used to experience on that road is no more there. That was being proactive by the NDDC. We are also watching it because we have also kept our contractors on standby to ensure that those sections of the road that are being worked upon where might face some challenges when the flood comes, let it be that we have our people on site to also keep working for our people not to suffer too much.
The federal government has demonstrated an advanced supervisory control and data acquisition system for managing the national power grid. The federal government is promising that the technology will manage and enhance grid stability. It will reduce power outages and improve energy efficiency. The acting permanent secretary of the Ministry of Power, Mr. Emmanuel Nosike, who represented the Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, at the demonstration in Abuja, states that this initiative represents the efforts to ensure sustainability of power supply in Nigeria.
Located in Gwagwalada, a suburb in the nation's capital, is the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, SCADA, which provides real-time monitoring and control of the national grid. It aims to enable operators to detect faults, manage loads more efficiently, and respond promptly to power outages. The acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Power, Mr. Emmanuel Onosike, is representing the Minister of Power at the demonstration of the World Bank-funded projects. He explains how the system is modernizing the nation's power infrastructure.
The SCADA system will empower us with real-time monitoring and control capabilities that are crucial for quick decision-making and effective management of grid. By implementing this advanced technology, we are taking a bold step towards addressing some of the issues holding the sector down. The SCADA system will enable us to monitor the entire electricity network from a centralized location, thereby ensuring that we can respond promptly to outages, manage loads efficiently, and optimize the overall performance of our power systems.
The managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Suli Abdulaziz, also highlights the significance of the project.
With the progress recorded so far, the project is set to change the landscape of system operation in the NDDC by ensuring the following. Number one, operational efficiency using state-of-the-art modern equipment to monitor and control the grid. Number two, global visibility of the transmission network, thereby empowering the operator with the tools to make informed decisions, resulting in improved grid management.
The delegation later inspects the system, which has already been integrated into key power infrastructure across the country and is expected to be completed next year. Daily Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
The Nigeria Customs Service Area 1 Command in Rivers State has announced a significant achievement in the fight against drug abuse with the seizure of a large consignment of tramadol, a band of tramadol, trafradol, estimated worth 550 billion naira. The seizure, made in a special operation by officers at the Port Harcourt International Airport, is said to be part of the agency's intensified efforts to curb the inflow of illicit drugs into the country. In addition to this, the Area 1 Command has also announced an impressive revenue generation of 142 billion naira between months of January and August 2024.
The seized cargoes were smuggled into the country in 2 batches. 6 packages in the first instance and 3 packages thereafter. The controlled substance were closely monitored on arrival by our eagle-eyed intelligence units that waited patiently for the consignee or the custom agents to come forward for capturing and assessment of his consignment. The said illicit drugs, which are suspected to have originated from India, were reported to have arrived at Port Harcourt International Airport through a Lufthansa Airlines flight from Frankfurt in Germany. One suspect by the name Mr. Patrick Akpo, who is the custom agent, was promptly arrested by our custom police units and transported alongside the shipment to our cell in the command's headquarters, where preliminary investigations were carried out. To ensure the proper handling of these items, I will formally transfer the seized packages to the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, NDDC, Port Harcourt International Airport Command, for safekeeping and further investigation following the relevant laws.
In part 2, after the break, as the clock ticks towards the Edo State governorship election, political parties are now wrapping up their campaigns with rallies aimed at garnering votes for the electorate. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria. A reminder of our main stories. The EFCC insists the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, is wanted for alleged 80.2 billion naira money laundering charges, as Mr. Bello's media team says the former governor honored an invitation by the anti-graft agency and left without being interrogated. The federal government issues an urgent warning to states in southern Nigeria on impending flood, especially in Edo, Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Kogi states. And the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says the Army will play its part to ensure a safe and peaceful governorship election in Edo State on Saturday, September the 21st. And Lebanese Health Ministry has confirmed that 12 people, including 2 children, have died after explosions rocked the city. Ahead of the September 21st, 2024 governorship election in Edo State, the Nigerian Air Force has started airlifting election materials for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to be named the Edo State capital. A statement by the Deputy Director, Public Relations and Information, Group Captain Kabiru Ali, says that this move is part of a broader effort to ensure timely and secure delivery of sensitive materials necessary for the smooth conduct of the elections. The statement adds that the airlift operation demonstrates the collaboration between NAF and INEC aimed at facilitating logistics and ensuring a peaceful election process in Edo State. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, had during a recent meeting with INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, reiterated NAF's commitment to providing airlift for the swift movement of electoral materials and fulfillment of NAF's constitutional responsibility of providing military and civil authority. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says that the Army will play its own part to ensure a safe and a peaceful governorship election in Edo State come Saturday, September the 21st. General Musa gave this assurance at the courtesy visit to the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, in his office, where he said the armed forces have a brief from the presidency to ensure that the electorate have a conducive atmosphere to vote for their candidates. The governor, on his own part, is of the view that most of the issues have come from non-political actors, noting that even public complaints, the police has also refused to be fair in its dealings.
I just want to assure you that members of the armed forces are here to support you in this election, to make sure that the election is peaceful. Our drive, our mandate from Mr. President is to ensure that it is peaceful, free, fair, and credible. And that is what exactly we're going to do. So everybody you see here is here to ensure that is done, and that's the mandate. And that is why I'm here to also look at it, to see the troops and address them critically for them to understand the importance of free, fair, and credible elections. Nobody is to take sides. Whoever it is that is popular and the people want, we want the people to be the ones to select who they want, not who is being imposed on them. So that I can guarantee you. We have done it for other states in the past 3 elections. I'm sure you noticed that it went well. We want to do the same thing here. The days of impunity are over. This election shouldn't be war. People shouldn't die because they want to go and select who they want to vote. So, in clear terms, that's why I came.
Politicians will behave the way they like, but members of the security agencies should give the public assurances and confidence. Like we're not asking for any favors. We are saying, let Edo citizens be free to go to the polls and express themselves the way they wish, and will accept the outcomes of any properly conducted polls. But when you have a situation where citizens are being intimidated by people in uniform, last night some people woke me up at 3 a.m. There were policemen at Edo Central trying to still arrest people last night. I got a call this morning again about the Sienna boss at the area office with a mandate to come and pick up. Elections are actually it is away. We have, people who have been arrested, taken away from Edo. It's only fair. If you claim that somebody has committed an offense in a place, you arrest that person and try that person in that location where they committed the offense.
Before we continue with the Edo elections, let's remind you of our breaking story, which has been what has turned out to be a roller coaster of events surrounding the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, who's been on the wanted list of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, on allegations of having laundered 80.2 billion naira. Officials of the EFCC are presently making attempts to arrest the former governor of Kogi State at the Kogi State Governor's Lodge at the Asokoro district in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. but there appears to be some resistance by security operatives at the government lodge. Gunshots rent at the air during that altercation. You see on your screen at the moment, the entire area has been cordoned off, and movements around that area have also been restricted to only operatives of the EFCC and other security agencies stationed there. And our crew deployed to the scene had their camera, the tripod, and the keys to our vehicle all seized. Let's continue now with politics in Edo State, where the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has assured public servants that the vote for the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Asue Ighodalo, will guarantee more reforms in the public service. Mr. Obaseki made the call during the thank you reception in his honor, organized by the public servants at the Victor Waifo Creative Hub in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Pictures of the John Odige Oyegun Public Service Academy, refurbished Samuel Ogwemudia Stadium, refurbished Civil Service Secretariat at Palm House are some of the legacy projects of Governor Godwin Obaseki on display in the Victor Waifo Creative Hub, a venue that is also a legacy project. Edo public servants are assembled here, probably for the last time, to honor Governor Obaseki for 8 years of symbiotic relationship between workers and the state government. Governor Obaseki acknowledges the warm reception as he introduces his choice of a successor, the PDP governorship candidate Asue Ighodalo.
Those who are contesting with us to come get power in Edo State have no idea where we are and what we have achieved and where we are going. And that God has been kind to us to touch the heart of somebody who doesn't only have the pedigree, who has the upbringing, but more importantly, is shown it by sacrifice that he's now ready to serve.
He also wants the workers to see this request as his own form of gratuity.
The best send-off you can give to me, the best thank you you can give to me, is to go out and work to make sure that Asue Ighodalo becomes the next governor of Edo State.
PDP's governorship candidate, Asue Ighodalo, assures the workers of a very good relationship right from the onset.
By God's grace, my first full day in office will be spent with you. My first full day. And we'll have a town hall and get as many of us as can get in there, and then we'll talk. And then we'll talk about what the plans are, how we'll all work together regarding those plans, so that in the shortest possible time, Edo State becomes a first world self-sovereign.
The reception from the crowd suggests that Edo workers are happy with the present administration. The People's Democratic Party will be hoping that they enjoy this support on Saturday, September 21st, during the Edo governorship election.
Still on the Edo State governorship election, it is set to take place this Saturday, as we know, and the Labour Party is already putting the final touches on its own efforts to garner the support of the Edo people. At the party's mega rally in Benin City, the Edo State capital, leaders gathered to restate their commitment to developing the state and making life easier for the people of the state.
It's a lively atmosphere as members and supporters of the Labour Party gather in their numbers at the Edo Baptist Convention ground for the party's mega rally ahead of Saturday's governorship election.
I will never leave your side. I will never.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your people are ready for you, Your Excellency.
Amongst the dignitaries present here are the party's presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, his running mate, Dati Baba Ahmed, the deputy governor of Abia State, Ikechukwu Emetu, the party's national caretaker committee chairman, Nena D. Usman, among other party leaders. It's also a happy day for defectors from other parties as they are received into the fold.
The party flag to our new members into Labour Party officially today.
Addressing the supporters, Labour Party's Caretaker Committee Chairman rallies support for Olumide Akpata and urges them to trust him to develop the state.
He is the man. He is going to respect you, your family. He will respect your right to have good education, water, health facilities, and above all, respect the traditional institution.
Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed calls on Edo State indigents to strive for good governance, which he says Mr. Akpata will bring to the table.
Voting for yourself, the right leader, is bringing security to your doorstep. Nobody will follow you to your villages and kill you when you have the right leader. On Saturday, vote Akpata Kadiri.
For Mr. Peter Obi, Olumide Akpata has what it takes to change the narrative in the state, as he also hopes for a free and fair election.
Olumide Akpata is not just our guy, he's our governor. We want this election to be free and fair.
The campaign ground erupts with joy as popular artist Spiral makes a surprise entrance and performs some songs. His part, the Edo State Labour Party candidate, assures the people that he will bring substantial developments to the state and asks the people to buy into his vision.
Labour Party is ready to provide better life for Papa, Mama, and Pikin. We are going to do Edo Power. We will start from Orion, take around the whole Edo State. Light must day. God don't rescue us. The only one will remain now for now to come out. Now, hand the day.
With the election just hours away, the Labour Party is hopeful that it has done enough to convince the people of Edo State to give Mr. Akpata and his running mate access to Osadebe Avenue.
Go see our brothers and sisters for them.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Central Bank of Nigeria says it will implement the cybercrime levy on all electronic transactions under its new guidelines for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. And that's in business news. To join us again. Welcome back. Let's bring you details of the events we've been tracking. Our lead story on the events surrounding the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, who's been on the wanted list of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, on allegations of having laundered 80.2 billion naira. Officials of the EFCC are making an attempt to arrest the Kogi State governor, the former Kogi State governor, at the Governor's Lodge in the Sokoro district in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. But there appears to be some resistance by security operatives at the government lodge. Gunshots rented the air during that altercation. At the moment, the entire area has been cordoned off. Movements around the area have also been restricted to only operatives of the EFCC and other security agencies stationed there. We'll recall that our crew deployed to the scene had their camera, their tripod, and the keys to our vehicle all seized. Two other stories. It's been one day of encomiums for the senator representing Edo Central Senatorial District and the APC governorship candidates for Saturday's governorship election, Monday, Okwebolo, over the block of 8 classrooms he constructed for Ohoko Secondary School in Ekpoma, Esan West local government area of Edo State. The APC governorship candidate, who was represented at the event on Wednesday, in his message to the people, assured them that he intends to do more in the development of the education sector in the state if elected.
The Uhuru Secondary School grounds, Ekpoma, Esan West local government area, is host to guests from far and near, as well as members of the community who have come for the commissioning of a block of classrooms the APC governorship candidate Monday Okwebolo constructed for the school. A representative of the traditional head of Upo community says the people are grateful for this intervention.
We have been crying in the wilderness, but Abakomisa has redeemed us from the snares of the devil, and we are very happy. We are indebted to him by the special grace, God with a word win by winning this coming election.
The APC governorship candidate Monday Okwewolo is represented at the event by a member of the Edo State House of Assembly who delivers his message to the gathering.
His Excellency have said, I should tell you people, that he will not be a governor that will not put teachers in school. He will not want a situation where Open children will leave this building and not go to another school because there is no teacher in this place. So in his first 100 days in office, our incoming His Excellency said, I should tell you he's going to employ 5,000 teachers.
He finds time to touch on the APC candidate's plan for civil servants in the state if elected.
His Excellency, our incoming governor, has said I should tell those state workers today that the charge being paid in Abuja will be paid to all those state workers if he's elected. Our incoming governor is a man of empathy. He's a humble person. He has said, if he's elected the governor of Edo State, no person will work and being a pensioner will die without earning his gratuity.
The project, an 8-classroom block, is thereafter opened for use with a ribbon cutting ceremony.
In the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
A tour of the facility reveals the furnished classrooms, a dining hall, and a changing room.
We'll continue with the news at 10 as we head over to Abuja studios where Victoria Longjohn is standing by to give us more. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, and we continue here with the Labour Party as the Julius Abure group of the party has been reacting to the INEC's decision, the INEC rejecting him as the national chairman of the party at a news conference in Abuja. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Obiora Ifo, expressed disappointment in the action of the electoral umpire. Mr. Obiora insists there is no vacancy in the leadership of the party, noting that the Federal High Court in Abuja, presided by Justice G.K. Omotosho, had earlier declared the National Convention of the party held in Nnewi, Anambra State on March the 26th, 2024, valid. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party is alleging the circulation of fake election result sheets in Benin City ahead of the governorship election in Edo State and asked that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) authenticates all result sheets before deployment on election day. Now, speaking at a news conference in Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Debo Ologunagba, calls on the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner and the Supervising National Commissioner to ensure that no fake result sheets are used during the election. Over to Delta State now, where the governor, Sheriff Oborevori, has disclosed the rollout of several empowerment programs for youth and the vulnerable to help mitigate the effect of the economic hardship on businesses, households, and individuals in the state. The governor disclosed this at the flag-off of the 4th disbursement of the Delta State Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus (DCARES) held at the Event Center at Saba with over 97,000 beneficiaries.
This 4th phase disbursement of the DCARES Empowerment Package marks another significant milestone in the administration of Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevori. Representatives of over 97,000 beneficiaries dressed in their shirt attires are patiently seated, awaiting the arrival of the governor to begin the day's event.
Oborevori, the governor of Delta State.
In their goodwill messages, the Commissioner for Economic Planning and the Chairman State Care Steering Committee, Mr. Sonny Ekedain, as well as the member representing Oshimili South State Constituency in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Bridget Ayafulu, commend the governor's initiative and also speak on how the beneficiaries were selected.
Beneficiaries have so far benefited from this program, mainly through grants, livelihood support, improved rural infrastructure, and to mention but a few.
You will agree with me that His Excellency deserves the applause and commendation of all Deltans for scaling up the program to this time, at this time of severe economic crisis, generalized hardship, and large-scale impoverishment arising from the withdrawal of petrol subsidy and drastic fall in the value of the naira caused by the decision.
While urging beneficiaries to make good use of the opportunity to grow themselves and their businesses, the governor says the state government is set to roll out other empowerment programs through the different state government ministries.
In the next few months from now, this amber month, outside this program, the youth, the Commissioner for Youth will roll out other programs. Science and Tech will roll out other programs. There are so many programs to touch the people.
It's now time for the symbolic presentation of checks to beneficiaries, with the governor, his deputy and the Speaker of the State House of Assembly presenting checks and starter packs to beneficiary businesses, individuals and communities.
Chickens and other things.
The empowerment package cuts across 6 delivery platforms comprising State Cash Transfer Unit, Labor Intensive Public Workfare Unit, Livelihood Support Unit, Community-Driven Development Social Implementation Unit, which brings the total beneficiaries on the 4th tranche to 97,365 and the overall total beneficiaries at 200,000.
And that's it from Abuja. It's now over to Dominic for business news.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Victoria. On business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced that it will reintroduce the implementation of the controversial cybercrime levy on all electronic transactions under its new guidelines for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The development comes after the levy was purportedly suspended after it sparked debate among Nigerians. According to the CBN, the revenue generated from this levy is directed towards a cybersecurity fund intended to support measures that safeguard Nigeria's banking system from the growing threat of the nation's cybersecurity infrastructure. Meanwhile, the percentage of the levy has been reduced from 0.5%, which was earlier announced in May this year, to 0.005% under the new guidelines. And back home, the domestic stock market is still in positive territory as its benchmark index climbs back to the 98,000 level. Lady Williams has details of the day's activities on the NGX.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report, day 2 of this trading week. And the local bourse is still dominated by positive sentiment. Over 0.5% gain, 0.56%. All-share index, 97,230 points. I would say the market cap still at 56 trillion. Let's look at the sectoral performance. And we're still seeing positive sentiment with the sectors, banking maintaining that dominance at 1.06%. Up with most of the tier 1 banks rising today. Oil and gas counter flipping that negative close yesterday is up 0.35%. Consumer goods down same margin, but 1.06%. Then the market mover today, Geregu Power PLC, when it felt like interest in the stock had fizzled out at a 52-week high, it seems another run might be loading. The company gave forward guidance on revenue, expect to hit about 61 billion naira between October and December 2024. We'll definitely see if that hits. But that's how your money performed today. The Bulls have it.
And that's it on business news. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Dominic. And still to come on the news at 10, the Lebanese Health Ministry has confirmed that 12 people have died, including 2 children, after explosives in thousands of Hezbollah pages were detonated. Please stay with us. Welcome back. There have been more explosions and more injuries across Lebanon, with authorities putting today's figures at 9 deaths and 300 injuries. Here's Simon Puse with other international news around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Lebanese Health Ministry has confirmed that 12 people, including 2 children, have been killed after explosives in thousands of Hezbollah pages were detonated. Watch the bottom left. A man's pager exploding in a busy market in the middle of the day. Over 2,750 people were injured in the attack. The militant group Hezbollah had recently started using pagers after banning mobile phones earlier this year, saying they were too easy to track. The devices seemed to carry a Taiwanese brand, but Taiwanese firm Gold Apollo denies any involvement, saying the pagers were made by a Hungarian firm. The US Secretary of State said the US had no prior knowledge of the attack.
The United States did not know about, nor was it involved in these incidents, and we're still gathering the information and gathering the facts. Broadly speaking, we've been very clear, and we remain very clear, about the importance of all parties avoiding any steps that could further escalate the conflict that we're trying to resolve in Gaza, to see it spread to other fronts. It's clearly not in the interest of anyone involved to see that happen.
13 people have been injured in Russia's Tiva region after a large Ukrainian drone attack sparked a fire there. That's according to the country's health ministry. Unverified footage has emerged of this huge mushroom cloud purportedly showing a massive blast in the town. A partial evacuation of the region was ordered after the strike in the early hours of Wednesday morning. The regional governor later encouraged residents to return, saying that all infrastructure in the town was working normally again. The military site reportedly housed fuel tanks as well as artillery shells, ballistic missiles and explosives in a series of warehouses. These are all weapons that have been used in Russia's relentless full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The Brazilian Geological Service says water levels in many of the rivers in the Amazon basin have reached their lowest on record amid a continuing drought. The Madeira River, a major tributary to the Amazon, had fallen to just 48 centimeters in the city of Porto Velho on Tuesday, down from an average of 3.32 meters. The Solimões River has also fallen to its lowest level on record in Tabatinga on Brazil's border with Colombia. Brazil's Natural Disaster Monitoring Agency has described the current drought as the most intense and widespread it has ever recorded. Footage released by the US Coast Guard shows the tail cone of the Titan submersible, which imploded, killing all 5 people inside, on the sea floor. The deep-sea vessel was less than 2 hours into its descent towards the wreck of the Titanic when it imploded in June 2023. Earlier this week, a hearing revealed that one of the final messages from the 5-person crew before they lost contact with the Titan's mothership was "all good here." It comes days after a former employee of the company told a public hearing he believed a safety incident was inevitable as the firm bypassed all standard rules. Thousands of supporters of Ghana's main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, have been protesting nationwide to demand an independent forensic audit of the country's voter register. Party officials say they have identified errors in the electoral roll for December's nationwide poll that require correction. The election authority says errors that were previously identified have been corrected. Demonstrators clad in red and white t-shirts carried placards with inscriptions such as "We need justice in this election." And the 67th Coupe Aeronautique Gordon Bennett has been won by Team Austria 2 aboard their gas balloon before touching down nearly 3 days later across the continent in southern Portugal. Christian Wagner and Stephanie Liller travelled a distance of 2,111 kilometres in a field of 21 gas balloons. The competition is a long-distance balloon championship where the aim is to travel the furthest possible distance from the launch point. All balloons headed west over Luxembourg and into France, but only a dozen teams flew through a third night, and the contest was hotting up as numerous teams converged on the southern tip of Portugal, where the top 3 finishers all landed there within 110 minutes of each other. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Former Italian striker Salvatore Toto Schillaci, most famous for being top scorer at the 1990 World Cup, has died at the age of 59. Schillaci became an icon for his unexpected goal-scoring exploit at his country's home World Cup. Italian media reports that Schillaci died at Palermo's Civico Hospital after suffering from bowel cancer. The UEFA Champions League Serie A side Bologna played a goalless draw with Ukrainian side Shakhtar Donetsk, with Sparta Braga beating RB Salzburg of Austria 3-0. Elsewhere, Scottish powerhouse Celtic hammered Slovan Bratislava 5-1. Last season's finalists Borussia Dortmund went away to beat Club Brugge 3-0 in Belgium. In other matches, 2023 champions Manchester City were held to a goalless draw by Italian champions Inter. French money bags Paris Saint-Germain. PSG beat Spanish debutants Girona 1-0. And that's your Sports News tonight. I'm Kelly. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And more updates on the former Kogi State Governor. Normalcy has now returned to the area around the Kogi State Government House after the EFCC made an attempt to arrest former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. Unconfirmed reports say the former governor has now left the lodge in the company of the incumbent Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo. Well, this is coming after gunshots were fired by security operatives who resisted Mr. Bello's arrest. In the last 1 or 2 hours, the EFCC had cordoned off the area in an attempt to pick up the former governor, who earlier on today visited the anti-graft office in what his media aides say was in honor of an invitation by the EFCC. And the main news again, we told you earlier, the EFCC today stormed the Kogi State Governor's Lodge in an attempt to arrest the former governor Yahaya Bello. Gunshots were fired by security operatives. Some security operatives appeared to have resisted that arrest of the former governor, who the EFCC said is on its wanted list on alleged charges of an 80.2 billion naira money laundering charges. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night.